Hello students, Mr. Yan here. Welcome to Chapter 8, Lesson 1. So, we've already learned a whole lot about Greeks. This chapter, we will fill in the cultural gaps. For example, we studied the fact that the Greek city-states are all different as a result of their geographic separation. But why study them together at all? Well, Greek city-states had a shared culture, which is what we'll be learning about today. So here we are. We're going to start off with the Greek gods. So the Greeks, like many other civilizations, were polytheistic. They, however, did not particularly fear their gods. The Greek gods were human-like, complete with personal squabbles and relationships. According to Greek myth, the 12 most important gods lived on Greece's highest mountain, Mount Olympus. So they were called the Olympians. Check out some of the Greek gods on the graphic below, like Zeus, Poseidon, there's Hades, Dionysus, Athena, Artemis, Hercules is a half-god, Hermes, there's all kinds here. There's Hera, Zeus's wife. So Zeus, right here, Zeus was the top dog of the Greek gods. All Greeks honored Zeus, but each city-state picked sort of a god to honor. For example, in Athens, it was Athena. Makes sense, right? There would be a temple to their god of choice in the city-state, usually in the Acropolis. The people would leave sacrifices, little things for their gods, and do rituals or religious ceremonies would be performed to please that god, which would hopefully bring some type of reward for the city-state. Oracles lived in the temples and would communicate between the gods and the people. I don't know how they did it, but word on the street is it involves some psychedelic fumes. So they would go ask this priest or priestess questions, and they would commune with the gods and bring answers. Let's see. Every 4 years, the greatest athletes of Greece would meet in the city of Olympia in athletic competition in order to honor Zeus. This tradition lasted for like 1,000 years. They restarted the games, the modern games, in 1986, and they are still held every 4 years. You may have heard of them. They're called the Olympics. Those started in ancient Greece, something we still do. Alright, let's talk about epics and fables. There are some pretty awesome epics and fables from Greek culture that we still tell today. Greek poems are considered the oldest literature of Western civilization. 2 of these epics were written by Homer. They are called the Iliad and the Odyssey. They are tales based around, well, pretty much the Trojan War. In the Iliad, it is essentially the tale of the Trojan War, about how the Prince of Troy snuck back to Troy with his new wife Helen that he nabbed from a Greek king, and boom, insta-war. The Greeks go to invade Troy. They can't break the walls. They end up sneaking in with their Trojan horse. There's a pretty modern movie about it, starring Brad Pitt. Check it out sometime. It came out in 2004. It was Troy. The Odyssey is a tale of the Greek hero Odysseus and his journey home after the Trojan War, so it's almost kind of like a sequel. It takes him 10 years to get back, and on the way there are monsters and other types of adventures. I think they've made multiple movies about the Odyssey. They're really fun stories. That's why we're still remaking them. Now, you may have heard of Aesop's fables, and if you haven't, I know that you've heard one or two. There's no proof that a guy named Aesop was actually a man that lived, but he is credited with many Greek fables. A fable is a short story that teaches a lesson. You've all likely heard The Boy Who Cried Wolf, which teaches us not to lie, and The Tortoise and the Hare taught us that slow and steady wins the race and not to be too cocky. Aesop's fables were not written down for a very long time. They were part of what is called Greek's oral tradition, which means they were passed by word of mouth for a long time before they were ever written down. Switching gears quickly onto Greek drama. Now, when you think of drama, and when I think of drama, I think Aunt Susie told Grandma that Cousin Flo said her pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving tasted like soap. Now Grandma isn't talking to that side of the family. This isn't that kind of drama. A drama, in this sense, is a story told by characters, in essence what we now call a play. There are 2 types of Greek dramas. In a tragedy, a character fails to overcome a problem, and there's basically an unhappy ending. in a comedy, there is a happy ending. So kind of the same story, but a little lighter, and they are able to overcome their problem. Not a comedy as in, ha ha, funny, funny. A fun note on Greek plays, only men were allowed to be actors. So they played all the roles, even the female ones. On to Greek art and architecture. The Greeks excelled in art and architecture, particularly in the golden ages of Greece. Like, you think of the golden age of Athens, that's when all these things came out. Greek architecture was simple, clean, functional. It still managed to look good, much like myself. All kidding aside, their Greek architectural design survives and is still used today. It's called classical design. Perhaps the most recognizable of Greek architectural designs is the column, as seen here in the Lincoln Memorial. Columns, a very classical design from ancient Greece. That's it for the content. If you move on to the next page, you'll see we have a simple quiz. 2 attempts, 10 points, 5 questions. I believe one of them is true-false this time. So that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, tomorrow I imagine we'll be moving on to lesson 2, which concerns the Greek mind, which is philosophy. Alright, have a good one. Let me know if you need anything.